Once a year, we get an electric and illuminating Uranus Cazimi. This time around, it occurs in mid-May and promises exciting breakthroughs, revelations, and revolutionary discoveries. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please show your support by leaving me a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Watch more of my videos. I am very thankful, and the algorithm sees that and brings more attention to my channel, helps me grow. So I appreciate every one of you who does that. Additionally, you can say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, a croissant. Any token of appreciation is welcome. So thanks to you. Before we dive in, I have a couple of announcements. First of all, if you're seeking personal guidance, you want me to look at your chart to help you understand yourself and the mysteries, the karmic entanglements that are hidden in your chart, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I do predictive readings, natal chart, relationship consultations, as well as electional astrology, helping you select the best time for an important event or help you relocate. This is called astrocartography. All of that is on my website, as well as my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course, which begins in September. If you'd like to take control over your life and become your own astrologer, be able to interpret the cycles and navigate life with more ease, sign up and join us. Last announcement, on my website, you can also find a variety of products. I create candles and oils specifically. I'd like to highlight my Fire of Aries candle in here. It captures the moon in Aries conjunct Jupiter in Aries. So very lucky, very abundant, very exuberant, great for starting new projects, great for boosting your optimism and even boosting your energy. Astrologically, really recommend this for any Aquarius sun or Libra sun. If you have your sun in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, if it conjoins Saturn. Even for the moon, let's say your moon is in Gemini or Aquarius or Sagittarius, this could be like a really good fit for your chart. So thank you for listening. Check out all of my offerings on my website. Uranus Cazimi. This is the Uranus-Sun conjunction. Every planet undergoes a Cazimi, which is the moment of that exact alignment. For the moon, we call them new moons. They're not called moon Cazimi, but it is a Cazimi because it's the light of the sun hiding the moon from us, right? And beginning a new cycle. So similarly, with any other planet, when they undergo a Cazimi, it means the planet is descending into the heart of the sun. It gets purified, cleansed, stripped away from all the negative qualities of Uranus, which could be rebellion without a cause, right? And it gets infused with meaning and purpose, which in Uranus's case could be to help humanity, to improve the world. Think of Prometheus, which is the character often connected to Uranus. So this Cazimi is exact at 7:32 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 17th. We begin to feel the energy from approximately May 14th until May 20th, but it's always really, really strong when it's within 15-16 minutes from the sun, which begins at 12:32 p.m. Eastern on May 17th and lasts until 2:32 a.m. Eastern on May 18th, with the exact epicenter again at 7:32 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 17th. The conjunction between the Sun and Uranus happens at 27 degrees, 17 minutes Taurus. Uranus is on its way out of Taurus, so we are closing in kind of important cycles, important chapters that got started in 2018, 2019, wrapping some loose ends, getting some final downloads and insights. You will feel this the most if you have planets between 24, 29 degrees fixed signs, which are Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. It will be more harmonious for you if you have planets in Pisces, Cancer, Virgo, or Capricorn, and a little bit, maybe perhaps more irritating if it is Leo or Scorpio or even Aquarius, because then it's square or opposition to your natal planet. But even if it is an irritating aspect, it still brings insights and discoveries. The sun generally is the planet of our goals. It's the driving force. It's the consciousness. It infuses us with purpose. And Uranus has this illuminating quality to it, right? It's like lightning striking to reveal the flaws in your ideals or to offer you an opportunity. And so this is the main kind of energy behind Uranus Cazimi. It can reveal what's not working, especially if we're talking about things that limit you, relationships that are toxic, relationships that are stagnant, job that is stagnant, connections, projects that you've been trying to push but they're not going anywhere. So this Uranus Cazimi can definitely be the time when you realize that something is not working and something needs to be released. And alternatively, there is an opportunity to see light in the darkness, to see some kind of hidden riches or opportunities and maybe make unique connections. And so in the Uranian energy can be very experimental and innovative. So let's say, again, you're working on some kind of project or you are trying to figure out a relationship that is maybe a little bit difficult, and Uranus comes in and you like do some research and you maybe ask AI or something for help and you figure out an exercise to do. Or for a project, you come up with a unique solution. The trick here is to be open-minded. The more curious you are, the more flexible you are, the more likely you will experience benefits. The more stagnant you are, stubborn you are about doing things the way you're used to doing them, then the more likely this aspect will be frustrating. We may also notice certain disruptions when it comes to authority figures, because the sun often represents people in power, leaders. So when Uranus conjoins the sun, there may be some kind of, rebellions against authority figures. So potentially this is something that can be seen on a collective level as people go on demonstrations or something like that. With Taurus, you're always thinking about home, you're thinking about property, you're thinking about children and having children, right? Like Uranus Cazimi could be a couple going to try IVF after unsuccessfully trying to get pregnant for a year, for example. Professionally, right, again, some kind of Uranus Cazimi using AI to help you reach your professional goals. So it could be exciting, it could be illuminating, it could be a little bit maybe surprising and disruptive, right? Something that you're not necessarily very excited about. We got to remember that we just had a full moon in Scorpio. We just had Mercury, Pluto square. So this full moon happened opposite the Uranus Cazimi. So perhaps you've discovered something in right around the time of the full moon, around May 12th, and now you're working towards integrating it and applying it into your life in unique and exciting ways. And if you do remember, if you are aware of what the full moon in Scorpio brought your way, please let me know. I'd be curious to know. Before we dive in and look at all of the 12 rising signs, I do recommend listening for your rising sign. You're welcome to also listen for your sun or moon, but rising tends to be more accurate, at least in my opinion. It differs for different people, right? So listen to what works for you. Again, if you're looking for a personal reading, because these are general, right? They're based on the rising sign. They don't take into account other things that are going on in your chart. Book one at Anastasia.astrology.com to talk to me face-to-face to discuss your chart and get your questions answered, and sign up for my natal astrology course. It begins very, very soon. So if you are an Aries rising, Uranus Cazimi happens in your second house. So we've had the full moon in your 8th, in the house of resources, in the house of debts, loans. The full moon on May 12th potentially illuminated the need to let go of some toxic situation. Maybe it's in your professional environment, maybe it's in your romantic relationship, maybe it's within your friendship, because we've also had Mercury in the second house squaring Pluto in the 11th. Now that you've experience some of those discoveries, Uranus Cazimi offers you a chance to make sort of that final separation and sever from a difficult job situation, maybe a difficult friendship, anything that is holding you down, anything that is preventing you from reaching abundance in life. Additionally, this will always bring new opportunities and exciting developments. And so here you may feel like you are gently ushered or pushed in the direction of investment, or using AI professionally, or using technology. You may be going into some kind of like future oriented direction, right? Or working with Reiki or something that's like out there. Uranus will never really care what other people think. So it's very much about abundance and stability in your life, and it will be very individual based on what you're seeking in life, right? But it's this opportunity to create wealth in a unique, devil-may-care way. Share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more, book a reading on my website. For beautiful Taurus rising, the sun conjoins Uranus in your first house. And so we've had the full moon in your 7th house of relationships on May 12th, Mercury on the same day squared Pluto between your 1st and 10th houses. So there could have been some important developments in your relationships, maybe in the life of your partner. There could have been some discoveries around intimacy, around closeness, maybe some important conversations, tensions around work, or just a sense that your current situation, people in power, do not really fit what you are seeking. So the first possibility is breaking away from something. This could be relationship, this could be jobs, this could just be an old pattern. With Uranus Cazimi in the 1st house, you realize that you have a habit to always think about the negatives, and maybe you decide to consciously start to try and rewire your brain, and you begin listening to positive affirmations. Or if it is a relationship, it's likely you've already been feeling for a while that things are stagnant, or work situation is stagnant, and so then you decide to go in a new direction. Over here, Uranus Cazimi can also bring opportunities to invite something new into your life, like a new hobby, a new health routine. Maybe it's very Uranian, very different, very independent. A new habit, a new way of defining yourself. Let's not forget, Uranus has been in your 1st house since 2018, 2019, turning you into this Promethean figure who was focused on bringing fire from gods to the earth, helping humanity. So this Uranus Cazimi, which is, one of the last ones in your sign, could very much be about that opportunity to show your true self, to step into your unique self and just show your qualities without worrying what people will think, and create your own opportunities and sort of show the world how good you are at using AI or technology, or building websites, or thinking about the future. I'm also thinking with Taurus, I'm thinking of property and maybe real estate, because the sun rules your house of property or home. So those might also be important topics, kind of maybe a new living situation or a new development in the family is quite likely. Do share how this resonates, and if you're seeking more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are a Gemini rising, there is a Uranus Cazimi in your 12th house, offering you a chance to do some spiritual, soulful cleansing. So on May 12th, we've had the full moon in your house of work, health, and service, suggesting a need to let go of some bad health habit, transform a professional situation, or let go of a difficult work situation. We've also had Mercury in your 12th house squaring Pluto in the 9th, which could have indicated that your ideals are changing, your beliefs are transforming. So Uranus Cazimi in the 12th house is a powerful opportunity to continue that stripping away of everything that doesn't serve you, it could be very illuminating in terms of like, yes, you maybe looked at your health and you realized that you have a bad habit of like drinking too much Coke. But with Uranus Cazimi, you're looking even deeper and you're realizing that it's not about drinking Coke, but it's more about your mom who used to drink it when you were a kid, and so it's your way to feel connected to her. So it's maybe an opportunity to process some grief, some loss, if that is what you've been going through. Illumination, breakthrough in therapy, dreams that carry important messages, opportunity to maybe isolate and work on yourself or work on a passion project. All of that could be exciting. With Uranus being in your 12th house, there's also, I think, a need not to only let go of self-defeating patterns, but also bring into consciousness those things that really truly matter to you, because as Uranus is about to go into Gemini, your first house, right, your house of identity, for a really long time, you are encouraged to really get close with what makes you excited, with the things that you tend to look at or think about or research or write about when you're alone, so that when Uranus comes into your first house in July, you may get ready to make that public. If you're seeking more guidance, you have questions, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book your reading on there, or register for my natal astrology course. For the beautiful Cancer rising, the Sun conjoins Uranus in the 11th. So I like this for realizations around friendships. Of course, if you've had a friend who's been difficult and maybe restrictive somehow, or, expects too much time, too much help from you, Uranus Cazimi could be the time you're like, really, listen, we need to talk about it. I don't feel comfortable with it. So it could be an opportunity to break away from something. We've had a full moon on May 12th, Mercury squared Pluto on May 12th. So you may have had some like important realizations around that time involving values, priorities, finances. So again, if it's like a friend that takes a lot from you but is not being very supportive of you, then it could be a good time to like let that friendship go. I also wonder with the Uranus Cazimi in the 11th if you're getting exciting opportunities that involve the collective, that involve helping others, that involve maybe studying something new or pursuing a new dream, going in the direction of AI, future science, technology, kind of tapping into these unique possibilities for wealth and abundance. You may also be connecting with people who can be influential in your life, teachers, mentors, guides, gurus, inspirational folks. And the biggest question that sort of keeps popping into my head is, what do you want to be known for? And so 11th house is this place that is about you, but it's also about the world, right? Like it's even less about you, it's more about the world. So like, what do you want, how do you want people to remember you by? So Uranus Cazimi can be this like light bulb going off and illuminating energy, lighting up in your head. And if you need help figuring out who you're meant to be, book a reading on my website. We can definitely talk about your karmic purpose and more. For the beautiful Leo rising, Uranus Cazimi is happening in your 10th house, career, status, reputation, public life. We just had the full moon in your 4th house of home, family on May 12th. Mercury squared Pluto on May 12th as well. It could have revealed what is not working in your professional life. It could have revealed the lack of work-life balance, exhaustion, fatigue, bosses who do not really respect your need for personal space or your need to take care of your child or your parent, whatever it might be. And so when we get the Uranus Cazimi around May 17th, this might just be that the straw that breaks the camel's neck, and you decide to quit your job, or you storm into your boss's office and you're like, this is what I want, this is what I need in order to have more stability and in order to be a better employee, right? And of course, Uranus Cazimi can also be sudden, exciting opportunities. Like you've always wanted to be a writer, somebody walks into your department store that you're working at and they are an editor and you strike a conversation and they're like, why don't you send me some of your work? So some kind of exciting opportunity, also sudden recognition and rewards at your job, maybe opportunity to get a promotion is possible. With Uranus, I'm always thinking of science, AI, future, maybe humanity, work that serves other people, but also uses a lot of these unorthodox, quirky, future-oriented technologies. If you're seeking more guidance, visit Anastasia.astrology.com to book a personal reading and enjoy this Cazimi. Hopefully just brings a lot of exciting revelations your way. For the beautiful Virgo rising, Uranus Cazimi is happening in your 9th house, the domain of education, travel, writing, publishing, legal matters, as well as your worldview. So on May 12th, we had a full moon in Scorpio in your 3rd house of everyday life, logistics, writing, local community, siblings, neighbors, your schedule. It could have revealed where you're overloading yourself, where you need to clear your schedule, or what do you need to commit to, what do you need to streamline. We've also had Mercury in the 9th house, square Pluto in the 6th, which could have suggested some type of professional tension, or maybe, you know, a connection between your beliefs and your health, or your beliefs in your professional life. So now that we get the Uranus Cazimi in the 9th, it could be a very intellectually stimulating aspect. Your mind is plugged into the universe, you're getting downloads, you're getting more clear, more self-aware, realizing which beliefs do not serve you and being ready to let it go. Since it is the house of travel, this can bring a sudden opportunity to travel, even to a point of relocating. It's not just traveling, but also like moving to a new place, changing your life, uprooting your life. It's the house of education, both teaching and studying. So opportunities to study, opportunities to upgrade your education in order to create more stability in the long run, I can see here. Legal matters, if you're involved in any, may come to a sudden resolution as well. And I think more than anything else, yes, there could be, there could be sort of these physical education, travel, writing, like a publishing opportunity or legal matters developments, but 9th house is also the house of faith and what you believe in and what you follow. So quite an interesting transit, I think, for like an ideological shift and releasing old beliefs or committing to new beliefs, like working on manifesting your vision, because Virgos, you are very intuitive and you're very capable. So go out there, manifest it. And if you're seeking if you need help, book a reading at Anastasia.astrology.com. We can discuss your chart and your transits coming up in a lot more depth. For my beautiful Libra risings, there's a Uranus Cazimi in your 8th house. So we just on May 12th had a full moon in your 2nd house of personal priorities, finances, and values. And on the same day, we had Mercury in your 8th squaring Pluto in the 5th. So you may have had some important conversations, discoveries around priorities, around values, around parenthood, children, money, some kind of like really personal conversations and personal discoveries. The full moon in the 2nd maybe brought a change to your resources, but I'm thinking more in terms of priorities. I'm thinking more in terms of like your agreements with other people. What is it that you want versus what is it that they want? And so Uranus Cazimi in the 8th house may just be the solution that you're seeking. Let's say you're working on a project with someone. You have a business and you're hiring a person to come in and help you design your website. And you kept on talking to them and the pricing wasn't working because maybe you can't afford it or whatever the reason. And so Uranus Cazimi happens on the 17th and you get a solution. Or you've been stuck with your significant other talking back and forward about spending on something or saving, or even talking about children, where should money go. So Uranus Cazimi could be like this very kind of liberating, clear energy that offers solutions. Since it is the house of partners' money, the surprises and answers may be coming from the partner. There may be sudden developments where your partner wins a lottery, or they get a bonus, or they receive an inheritance from like their father's accountant who always liked them when they were little, or their father's dentist, right, passes away and leaves them some money. Uranus Cazimi in the 8th house may give you a chance to pay off a debt, to sort of terminate some kind of difficult agreement, relationship, mortgage payment, anything that tied you down. And so it's like both letting things go that are difficult and draining, or initiating new beginnings, finding answers, finding solutions that improve your finances, that improve your relationships with other people, and allow for more financial and personal stability. Please share how this resonates. 8th house is always, similarly to 12th, it's always a little bit like, I feel like you need to unveil it and try to understand it. So do share what you think. And if you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book your personal reading today. For the lovely Scorpio rising, Uranus Cazimi is highlighting your 7th house of relationships. So we've had a lot of action in your house of relationships and your houses of identity this month. We've had a full moon in Scorpio on May 12th. On the same day, Mercury in the 7th house squared Pluto in the 4th. So you could have been really aware of tensions between you and your family, or between you and your partner's family, or between your partner and your family. So there's maybe been a lot of outside voices and a lot of things you try to manage, a lot of like people that ask different things of you. And so Uranus Cazimi in the 7th house may be a chance to kind of like set the record straight and speak up and assert yourself and tell like your partner or their family or whoever it might be that this is what I need, these are what my desires, this is what needs to happen for this relationship to continue. If you've been in a situation where, you know, you're maybe in some kind of back and forward, on again, off again situation romantically, Uranus Cazimi might just be the time when you're like, nope, I've had enough. I'm done with this. I need freedom to make better choices, find better relationships. A partner might be a source of disruption because it is their house. 7th house is people in your life, significant relationships. They come out and tell you like, hey, I want to live in 2 separate houses, or I want to move to France, or I want to open up our relationship. It doesn't have to be this dramatic, right? But some kind of change, some kind of adjustment that requires you to get out of your comfort zone and through discomfort build like better situation. Uranus Cazimi may also suggest, if you're single, that maybe there's somebody new coming into your life. They might come into your life through unique circumstances. You get locked in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre. If you know this reference, let me know in the comments below. But maybe something unique happens and you meet this person, or you open yourself to dating someone you wouldn't normally date. So exciting breakdowns, breakthroughs of relationships and partnerships, and I think ultimately more honesty and stability is coming your way. If you're seeking more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com, pick up an exalted moon candle, or Venus and Taurus could be really good for you guys. Exalted moon is for manifestation. Venus and Taurus is for relationships. For the beautiful Sagittarius rising, Uranus Cazimi brings developments into your house of work, health, and service. So we've had a full moon on May 12th in your 12th house. It could have brought important realizations about your need for rest. It could have highlighted, your mental health and how you are perhaps stretching yourself too thin and working yourself too hard. We've also had Mercury in the 6th squaring Pluto in the 3rd. Similar energy, all happening on May 12th. So what was happening for you? Let me know down below. Uranus Cazimi, I think, takes that and snaps something. So if you've been realizing that you really want more downtime, you want to work from home more, you want to sort of rest and take care of your mental health, then Uranus Cazimi could be the time to be like, okay, I'm done with this project. I'm done with this client. Can I work from home? Some kind of, friction, shakeup in the professional life that, again, sort of creates more stability for you. There might also be unique developments and opportunities coming through your professional sector. They may involve AI, technology, maybe some kind of like scientific, futuristic direction professionally. There may be also important conversations or developments in your relationships with colleagues, or if you have any employees, people working under you, which again clarifies the situation, maybe allows you to break away from something toxic and embrace something healthy and better for you. How has Uranus affected your work life since it first entered Taurus in 2018? Have you noticed major developments? Maybe some type of disruptions that were here to create stability? Let me know down below. And if you're looking for more guidance, or if you want to register for my natal astrology course, you can find it at anastasia.astrology.com. For the beautiful Capricorn rising, there is a Uranus Cazimi in your house of creativity, romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. So this is an exciting one. It comes in with a chance to try something new. This could be the time to experiment in the bedroom, open yourself up to something fun, something new, something exciting. This could be if you are, let's say you're trying to get pregnant, or if you're not trying to get pregnant, this could be like a sudden pregnancy. If you are trying to get pregnant, Uranus Cazimi may be like a unique, let's say, for people who maybe are trying to get pregnant but having difficulty, Uranus Cazimi might be that like opportunity to try IVF or adopt a child, just sort of find some kind of like unique solutions to the problems. And we've just had the full moon in your 11th house, and Mercury squared Pluto from the 5th in the second house on May 12th. So you maybe have had to navigate like your personal desires being in opposition to other people's opinions. So there could have been this kind of like clear realization of that maybe other people's opinions don't matter and they don't define you and they shouldn't affect your life. And so Uranus Cazimi in the 5th could be this like opportunity to connect with your true self and do something that is fun for you. Dating someone unorthodox and different, making art that is disruptive to the world and people don't quite understand it, but you don't care because you're doing it because it's coming out of your soul. Having more intimacy in relationships, having important conversations about children and parenthood and the future. It could be a really positive transit, and I wish that it is for you. If you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasia.astrology.com, book your reading on there, or register for my natal astrology course. The beautiful Aquarius rising, Uranus Cazimi is highlighting your 4th house of home, family, parenthood, home, family, and living situation. It could be about parenthood, but usually 5th house is more about parenthood. So on May 12th, we've had a full moon in your house of career, status, and public life. It could have brought an important development professionally, some kind of breakthrough, death and rebirth opportunity. We've also had Mercury in the 4th squaring Pluto in the 1st, which could have felt like you had to very much navigate the needs of your family with the needs of your job. Maybe you've dealt with some kind of friction in the home with your neighbors or with your like real estate people, your bank. So Uranus Cazimi in the 4th house is here to problem solve and offer solutions and illuminate the frustration. So let's say you're trying to sell your home and you've been really debating whether to do it now or how to find an agent, and Uranus Cazimi happens and like your sister tells you that she actually knows a really good real estate agent, and you're like, great, problem solved. Or you talk to your family and you decide to maybe set some better boundaries and transform certain things. There could be discoveries and secrets or some kind of important conversations around family and the past and childhood that could offer you a chance to heal an old wound and maybe even connect with family members deeply. Like your mom says something that she was really close to getting a tattoo when she was younger and she never did. And it makes you feel connected with her because you have tattoos and you felt like she didn't fully support it. So it was some kind of like interesting breakthrough, revolution, discovery in the family. And yeah, around real estate, and also maybe a chance to break away from something that's been stagnant and frustrating and difficult. For more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and register for my natal astrology course or book a reading. If you are a beautiful Pisces rising, Uranus Cazimi is happening in your 3rd house. So we just had a full moon on May 12th in your house of ideals, beliefs, higher education, sort of adventure, desire for adventure, or sort of bigger mind. Even legal matters, right? Like you maybe realized which goals of yours need to be worked on, which ones need to be released. And now that there is a Uranus Cazimi in the 3rd house, it's all about logistics. It's all about kind of what it takes to get you there, to that place of ideals and aspirations. So Uranus Cazimi in the 3rd house can reveal outdated thought patterns. It could illuminate where you sabotage yourself, where maybe you're thinking poorly about yourself and you doubt your own abilities. Let's say you want to be in love, but you keep telling yourself that, you know, it's not going to work out. So working on these, like starting in the mind, because 3rd house is like, it's logistics, but it's also like your inner processes, right? And then going into your environment, cleansing, getting rid of, spring cleaning, so that you have space to breathe, literally or maybe more metaphorically. This could also be about connecting to your passions and your skills, maybe discovering new interests, discovering new business opportunities, new business allies or associates. It could be about your community and running into people that can be inspirational and hopeful, and maybe your brain being activated, not just in a sense that like, hey, I need to clean my space and my inner mind, but also coming up with new ideas, coming up with like exciting ways of getting towards your dreams and reaching your goals. So could be highly illuminating, could be a little bit like maybe restless and just like too busy. So slow down, go hug a tree, meditate, write it down, put your thoughts on a piece of paper and enjoy. I hope this is a good transit for you. If you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can book a reading on there. You can pick up a candle and oil, join my course. And thank you for watching. I hope your May is going well. As always, happy to hear from you, happy to see likes, comments, subscriptions, and I will talk to you very soon. Until next one.